Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Pits to Podium show. And this week we're going to be talking about 50 years of Sauber Motorsport. It's been a legendary brand in the world of motorsport, not just Formula One. And just when Formula One is celebrating 70 years, of racing, Sauber is actually celebrating 50 years of being around on the motorsport scene. And along with me, I have Soumil Arora, and we're going to be discussing bit of history, bit of specifics about Sauber and what actually makes them such a great addition to the field of Formula One teams. Hi, Soumil.
Well, hello, Kunal. How are you doing?
I'm
It's
well,
a pleasure to
thanks.
be here.
Yes, counting down to the first race of 2020.
No, absolutely. I think it's been a long time since we've been away, and what a better subject to begin with than the Sauber incident. Because of course, it's been 50 years. If you come to think of it, that's a long time. That's something longer than so many other teams on the grid. And although Sauber haven't really had the most success in terms of championships or race wins, just the fact that they've been able to be here in the motorsport field, in sports cars and in Formula One for 50 years, I think that's an astounding achievement to say the least.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, when you consider the number of partnerships they've had in Formula One, whether it's with Mercedes-Benz, with Red Bull, with Petronas, the ones that we are now seeing with Ferrari, it's been a long association. We've also seen them partner with BMW. So, Sauber has done fantastic in terms of getting all the right partnerships in place on the technical front, which has then, of course, allowed them to attract some of the best driving talent in time as well. We keep talking of Red Bull running Alpha Tauri as, a B team that's, sort of grooming young drivers. But Sauber has been doing that since like the early 2000s.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just to name a few of the drivers, you've got the likes of Kamui Kobayashi, Sergio Perez, and then if you go even further, you've got the likes of Felipe Massa, Kimi Raikkonen, and now most recently we've got Charles Leclerc as well. And not to forget, even Robert Kubica and Nick Heidfeld. So not all of these drivers have gone on to have fantastic careers in Formula One. Some, of course, going to win world championships, and like Kimi, of course, and some like Charles Leclerc on the path forwards. But if you have a look at the likes of Nick Heidfeld and Kamui Kobayashi, these are drivers who have excelled outside of Formula One as well. So Sauber not only developing good Formula One drivers, but also good racing drivers in the business. And another thing, as you rightly mentioned, Kunal, is Sauber's ability to pick out the right partnerships. So although over the years they've been chopping and changing around, they've been with Ferrari for a long period. There was this deal with Red Bull and then BMW. Sauber came along. But regardless of all that, although they've been chopping and changing their shapes and sizes for so many years, they've still maintained that ethos of being a value for money team. And that has never ever gone away. They've been trying to operate at a significantly lower budget than most of their opposition, and they've still done a considerably good job. So I think that's a fantastic thing that Sauber has executed. And I think that ethos is sticking around for a long time. And I
Yeah,
think it
I
should
mean,
be going on for a long time as well.
absolutely. And when we talk of privateer teams, we talk of them joining the midfields. I think Sauber is a very good example of a team that a new team would like to follow. Of course, they've not had the successes for say the likes of Williams, okay, but they have always been there. They've sort of epitomized the fact of how Formula One teams are always in the fight, always trying to get better, always trying to go faster, always trying to line up on the grid. And that's what Sauber has, been around doing that. One of the partnerships we missed mentioning was the one that they currently have with, say, Alfa Romeo, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and come to think of it, the last 20 years is when Sauber almost, faced shutting down twice, right? First was when BMW just decided to randomly leave, and Sauber, in fact, the season when BMW left, they almost didn't have an entry the next season. They just got lucky when actually Toyota turned around and said, "Hey, we're leaving Formula One as well," and that sort of gave Formula One an extra grid slot for a team that Sauber benefited from. And the second time Sauber really struggled with finances, which we've all seen in the recent past, was when Formula One shifted to the hybrid turbo V6
Oh,
era, and
indeed.
that's when they were
Indeed.
they were really struggling as well. So it's a very good what do you call it, a roadmap. It's a very good inspirational partnership that budding investors of Formula One teams would ideally follow. And I say this because with the new regulatory changes, I do foresee new investors and team owners joining the sport.
No, absolutely. And I think in the end, the one thing that we must remember is that we have to keep in mind with the game theory that this is not a finite game. Formula One, although in the seasons and the races may be a finite game, but so to say, just being in Formula One, just maintaining that sort of longevity in the sport, I think that is what the game theory is all about. And Sauber and teams in the end, like Williams and Sauber, it's all about staying in the game for as long as you can and not trying to beat anyone in the short run, but just being there forever and trying to be a perpetual name in the sport. And I think that's something that Sauber has managed to do pretty well. And yes, we've been constantly mentioning the fact that Sauber, well, they don't really have as many championships and trophies to show for in their trophy collection. But that aside, the kind of drivers that they've developed, the kind of ethos that they've established in Formula One, and the way they've acted as a pedestal for budding engineers, budding racing drivers, I think that has had a widespread impact on Formula One as a whole, hasn't it, Kunal?
Absolutely. And, the only thing that's not sounding as great is the fact that they've had one win, one pole, 25, 27 odd podiums. But the big deal, of course, being they won at the 24 hours of Le Mans, Sauber as a
Indeed.
whole. And they won, they did really well at the sports car prototype championships, back in the 80s and so on.
The Group C, the fascinating Group C, they were, I think, right at the top.
Yeah. And, as we bring this video to a close, an interesting fact being that, the early Sauber cars, they were all named with C followed by a number, and C was a reference to Peter Sauber's wife, Christine. So, it's been a family business, for Sauber to run motorsport teams. And I think it's been a very inspirational journey for all of us and the future of Formula One, new team Formula One owners to follow.
Indeed, absolutely. And well, although the past may not be full of success, hopefully it is for Sauber. They've been a fantastic presence to have on the grid for every single person, every single stakeholder, in fact. And now with this Alfa Romeo partnership coming on as well, hopefully there are good times in store for them. Well, thank you so much for watching, folks. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and perhaps some constructive comments as well, maybe some feedback that we can use to try and improve this channel. Once again, thank you so much for being on Pits To Podium, and we'll see you on another video. Bye-bye.